Egg yolk, what is going on, viewers of the tube? My name is Tyler, and I'm the host of the crypto channel that always asks politely before if you want to see the dark side of the crypto industry. Just like little Chris showing his friends something he found by the railroad tracks in Boys in the Hood.
Y'all want to see a dead body? Yeah.
Y'all want to see some shady crypto dealings? And when I show you, I hope like Doughboy, Trey, and Ricky.
Damn, I feel like a dog died. Look like Freddy Krueger got him. He stank.
You realize that this stuff stanks, and not like Chainlink. You know the drill. It's time for Chico Crypto. A disguise? Yes, that is what we need to dig into today and talk about, as the global pandemic just might be used as a cover for the introduction of a brand new digital world which revolves around digital IDs. Last week we put out our #1 video so far titled Global Pandemic Planned ID 2020 Vaccines and Crypto. It was our first video to surpass 100K, which happened over the weekend, and as of yesterday was looking for that 250K mark. I highly recommend you watch that video as a precursor for this one, as I'm not going to cover all of that info again. The video is in the description if you want to check it out. So ID 2020, what is that? Well, we need to fully understand this because it is the centerpiece for the entire future digital system. This is the Global Digital Identity Alliance that is aiming to create a digital ID for every person on this planet. And the backers, the people behind this alliance, are some of the most powerful people in this world. From last week's video, we know that Bill Gates is highly involved. He tries to hide it by not directly associating the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation with it, but Gavi, the Vaccination Alliance, is one of the founding and main contributing members, of which we know Bill and Melinda Gates founded in 1999 with $750 million. But we just dug into basically Bill last time, as in his recent Reddit AMA, he spilled the beans on digital certificates for coronavirus testing and vaccination. But Bill is just one little piece of this. Who else is behind it? Well, as we can see, another founding member is the Rockefeller Foundation. And we didn't dive into that last time, so let's do it. If you know anything about the Rockefellers, you know they are basically American royalty. They are a family of the Illuminati, one of the controlling families from across this world. And the webs of power they have spread into the far reaches of every aspect of society. Just look at the groups involved with both the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, the CIA, the Federal Reserve, literally every other charitable or global brand, even the WWF.
If he throws him up on the other side,
No, not that one, the World Wildlife Foundation. But now we can also add ID 2020 to that list, as it's something the fellers have had their paws in, and they have been planning this for quite some time. May of 2010, the Rockefeller Foundation releases this report in collaboration with the Global Business Network, Scenarios for the Future of Technology and International Development. And on page 18, we get a glimpse into their future world. They call it Lockstep, and it's a world of tighter top-down governmental control and more authoritarian leadership, with limited innovation and growing citizen pushback. And they start this off with a prediction. 2012, a pandemic hits. Remember, this was written in 2010, which infects 20% of the population and kills 8 million people. The pandemic is also deadly on economies. International mobility of both people and goods screeched to a halt, debilitating industries, breaking supply chains, and locally shops and office buildings sat empty for months. Doesn't that sound familiar? Well, it gets even spookier. The United States is blamed for accelerating the spread for its leniency, while countries like China fared better as they enforced a strict and mandatory quarantine for all citizens. And let's continue. During the pandemic, national leaders around the world flexed their authority and imposed airtight rules and restrictions, from the mandatory wearing of face masks to body temperature checks at the entries to communal spaces like train stations and supermarkets. Even after the pandemic faded, this more authoritarian control of oversight of citizens and their activities stuck and even intensified. At first, the notion of a more controlled world gained wide acceptance and approval. citizens willingly gave up some of their sovereignty and their privacy to more paternalistic states in exchange for greater safety and stability. In developed countries, this heightened oversight took many forms: biometric IDs for all citizens. Doesn't that sound like what is happening? And the biometric ID, is it coming? Well, those Rockefellers in 2010, they knew it was coming, a biometric ID. Why do you think they are a part of the ID 2020 Foundation as a founding member? This was their plan all along, and they told us that nearly 10 years ago. So now that we know this has been in the works for some time with the Gates family and the Rockefellers behind it, let's get into what is currently being built by this alliance. From the founding alliance partners, of course we have Microsoft, who builds tech, but also there's Accenture. Now, don't you find it suspicious that both of these massive enterprises have been going gung-ho on blockchain technology in the past couple of years? With Accenture, it's obvious. Going to their website, blockchain is a main feature, and even in the first few words, you know what they are about. From traceable supply chains to permanent identity for refugees. Yup, it's about the ID, and if we go to their ID 2020 page, Accenture is all about a digital identity with blockchain and biometrics, just like those Rockefellers talked about in 2010. And Accenture kindly even put out a video explainer of the system. Let's watch now.
With this in mind, we have developed a unique digital identity prototype to modernize identity management for organizations and individuals. Leveraging the power of blockchain and biometrics, the system makes establishing, tracking, and managing digital identities more efficient, user-friendly, secure, and less open to fraud. Let's follow Joseph as he establishes and builds his identity. At an enrollment station, his biometrics are securely captured through his fingerprints, voice, face, or an iris scan. Then several steps are taken to create a unique identifier using multiple security protocols. This identifier is then recorded on the blockchain, which acts as an index with links to all applicable data. This makes it easy to locate, access, and share information.
Blockchain, biometrics, and your ID. But Accenture isn't the only one. Microsoft too. First, Microsoft launched a digital identity tool on the Bitcoin blockchain. Then we got Microsoft Azure Blockchain Services, a blockchain workbench, and a built-out blockchain development kit. And finally, we got Microsoft's actual digital identity, of which they have an entire white paper on. And in that white paper, we get another clue into what is going on. Microsoft is actively collaborating with members of the Decentralized Identity Foundation and the W3C Credentials Community Group. And as we can see from this explainer infographic, the DIF and W3C tools are highly important. DIF Identity Hub, DIF Resolver, W3C Decentralized Identifiers, and more. So let's go check out these guys, specifically the DIF, as I think they're building the base protocols and the technology that will be used to power ID 2020. So, the Decentralized Identity Foundation. As we can see from their members, of course we have the ID 2020 technology members, Microsoft, Accenture, and Hyperledger, but also basically every significant blockchain group out there, including Consensus. But now it's time to go to the GitHub and see what they are working on. As we can see, they are working with a fury, updates on multiple repositories today, yesterday, and even working on interoperability a few days ago. But we need to check out the most recently updated repository, Element, the DID method implementation using the sidetree protocol on top of Ethereum. So Element was announced last year, built by Transmute, in collaboration with Microsoft and Consensus under the DIF. So remember the article I brought up about Microsoft creating identity on Bitcoin? Well, that was Microsoft Ion. And from a Microsoft blog post announced of it, today we're announcing an early preview of a sidetree-based DID network called Ion, Identity Overlay Network, which runs atop the Bitcoin blockchain based on an emerging set of open standards that we've developed working with many of our partners in the Decentralized Identity Foundation. Yeah, Element is just the Ethereum version of Ion. Well, Transmute, who built Element, announced support for the Bitcoin blockchain just last month. We've integrated Bitcoin in a way that maximally supports both of our customers and sidetree community at large by enabling use of ion-based DIDs in our existing JavaScript libraries, currently used to power our implementation of Element, a core component of our product. And it's not only Bitcoin and Ethereum Element can connect to, it's enterprise systems like Oracle, AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, and Hyperledger. So obviously this side tree is highly important for the blockchain-based identities, so we should definitely dig into that repository. Going there, the last commit to this was yesterday by someone suspiciously important, a CSU Wildcat, which I found weird because my old college is CSU Chico, the Wildcats. Checking out the GitHub profile, this is a Daniel Buckner, which if we go to his LinkedIn, he is a senior program manager for Microsoft Digital Identity arm for nearly 4 years now. And he was also the executive director for the DIF. And scrolling down more, he did go to my college. Weird. But this means old Buckner, he is highly important, which is confirmed because he presented Ion, the first implementation of the side tree, in June of 2019. And from the post, Daniel Buckner, who is leading this initiative at Microsoft and a founding member of the Decentralized Identity Foundation. And guess who is tweeting about COVID-19 testing and tracking using digital identities? None other than at CSU Wildcat, Daniel Buckner. He tweeted, privacy-preserving COVID contract tracing approach. Number 1, telcos and users have DIDs, aka anyone with a cell phone. Number 2, telcos like AT&T generate tower-confirmed GPS pings as snark proofs. Number 3, user test positive, dead drops proof to visualizer and zero knowledge. Number 4, you can compare your own trail locally without knowing identities. Then Jack of Twitter, who screw you dude censoring piece of crap, tweeted this, help us verify public health experts. Of which Danny Boy replied, to riff on a line, all the Bitcoin cool kids like to use decentralized identifiers plus verifiable credentials fixes this. And we're marshaling the full force of the largest software company on earth to help make it a reality. So you guys, the actual brains behind all of this is tweeting that a reality of digital identities is coming. Digital identities that will be tied to COVID-19 identifiers and credentials. And this will come in the form of digital certificates. Remember the Bill Gates Reddit AMA, he leaked the digital certificate plan from his mouth. Eventually, we will have some digital certificates to show who has recovered or been tested recently, or when we have a vaccine, who has received it. Well, we already knew that, but he recently appeared on a podcast too and leaked even more. Let's watch now.
Eventually, what we'll have to have is certificates of who's a recovered person, who's a vaccinated person, because you don't want people moving around the world where you'll have some countries that won't have it under control. Sadly, you don't want to completely block off the ability for those, people to go there and come back and move around. So eventually there will be sort of this digital immunity proof that, will help facilitate the global reopening up.
Yeah, we are going to move to a digital immunity certificate, where you will be allowed to travel and re-enter the global economy, but only if you're confirmed digitally to be immune. And if you analyze what is being said recently, you understand it's coming. From the New York Times, posted on April 2nd, Britain looking at virus immunity certificates, but more research needed. And you need confirmation? Here is Britain Health Secretary Matt Hancock telling it like it is.
We are looking at an immunity certificate, how we can, how people who have had the disease, have got the antibodies and therefore have immunity, can show that, and so get back as much as normal as much as possible to normal life. That is an important thing that we will be doing and are looking at.
But how about here in the good old US of A? Well, let's just hear what some other elitists are saying besides Bill Gates. How about Bill Ackman of Perishing Capital? He turned $27 million into $2.6 billion in March alone off coronavirus bets, increasing his wealth by 11%. So he obviously has some insider info. And Bill Ackman is part of something special, the Giving Pledge, which was founded by Bill and his wife and Warren Buffett in 2010, where all these scummy billionaires got together and pledged to give away their wealth. Well, 10 years later, they all lied, and each and every one of them are richer. But this just connects Ackman right back to Bill Gates. And what did Ackman just tweet? I am beginning to get optimistic. Cases appear to be peaking in New York. Almost the entire country is shut down. Hydroxychloroquine and antibiotics appear to help. There is increasing evidence that the asymptomatic infection rate could be as much as 50 times higher than expected. If this is true, the severity and death rate could be much lower than anticipated, and we could be closer to herd immunity than projected. Highly accurate antibody tests and scaling production and distribution, which will definitively answer the question hopefully soon. One could imagine a world in the next few months where everyone is tested, and all but the immune compromised go back to a socially distanced but more normal life. We wear bracelets or carry a phone certificate, which indicate our status and track infections where they emerge. Track, trace, and find out if you got the Rona.
My corona.
And like the first video showed, MiPasa, the blockchain-based coronavirus data and information sharing network, is being built. MiPass, and if you don't have it, your world may be shut off for good. Cheers. I'll see you next time.